Nigeria's economy has been our focus for quite some time, and I'm quite sure it's also the worry of loads and loads of Nigerians also looking at the measures that the government has put in place. Joining us to look at Nigeria's economy and the austerity measure is Professor Abiola Awosike-Fapetu. She is the rector of Awosika School of Innovative Studies, and she's also a professor of business, accounting, and economics. Good to have you in the studios.
Thank you. It's a
well,
pleasure.
It can't be a surprise to you because we have talked about so many other issues, things that we can plug in to boost our economy, and you have also spoke to us before on how we can actually wriggle ourselves out of a mono-economy system, which we have always practiced. So it didn't come to you as a surprise?
No, not at all. And I think it's a good thing. For a government that is serious, this is an opportunity for us to restructure. We're glaring potential disaster in the face, and so we can stop and reassess. And it's good to hear the Honorable Minister for Finance talk about some of the things that they're going to do.
And we hope this won't be a deja vu because we've seen it before. It has dropped to an all-time low of $40 a barrel before, and we didn't do anything. We didn't cash in on that opportunity. And yeah. Now you're saying, well, it could be a blessing in disguise.
And that's why I said for a government that is responsible, they would use this as an opportunity to do the right thing. We can't be in a panic or a tizzy over this. Like you just said, it's happened before, and we lived through it. But we're hoping that the current regime will seize this opportunity and use it correctly. Unfortunately, a lot of the problems where we're going to feel the pinch is in the areas that probably matters to the masses the most. But I hope they don't let that happen. She has promised, areas like health, education, all of those are going to be maintained. I hope it is. What we need to do is look at that 70-some% that we put in recurrent expenditure, running the government. This democracy is too expensive. So let's start there and start cutting. Before this trickles, the affluence hasn't trickled down to the masses. And so the average Nigerian has been trying to make ends meet, do their own thing, just live outside of government. And so we will feel the impact, but it's not going to be immediate because we're not there enjoying the largesse with those who are, because I would consider myself comfortable as a Nigerian. I'm not rich, but I'm not poor. And in the space of time that I've been back in this country, I can lay my hand or count how much of the government of this country that I have enjoyed as a citizen.
When you say stop and assess, in 2011 there was a devaluation of the naira. Now that was another opportunity to stop and assess. Now this has happened. Do you think the parameters were looked at critically before this move was taken?
Well, it's I don't think it's something that they could not do because of where we found ourselves. We're here. There's nothing we can do about it. We've got to fix it. Somebody should have thought ahead so that we're not here. There were
signs.
There were signs. We were forewarned. The mono export that we have has been threatened for a long time. Shale oil is taking over. And the Americans have already told us. So we knew this was coming. But in the Nigerian style, we're thinking, okay, it will blow off or it wouldn't matter, but here we are. And so we have to, they've got to tweak the system, use the monetary policy rate, because that's the only thing we can use to regulate this economy. Two things that a government, two tools that the government would typically use: monetary policy or fiscal policy. Our fiscal policy involves, tax regimes or, spending money on infrastructure. We don't have a developed tax system for us to be able to use that. We're not putting enough money in capital expenditure to where using infrastructure spending or contraction would help us. So they have to go with monetary policy. Now, the thing is, for the average Nigerian, your goal in these times would be to, first of all, if you don't have to borrow, don't. Because the rates at which money would be going out would be extremely high. Second of all, we're already living outside of the government anyway. So we look at our own personal spending, readjust a little bit. I don't think that it's going to hit the average Nigerian as much as it's going to hit the guys at the top.
Well, you say that we're already living outside of government. That is something that, should bother government. Because government cannot be on one side and the citizens, or majority of the citizens, are on the other side. Are you saying that there is no connect anywhere and, some way that eventually government will be showing interest in those people living outside of government, or they will begin to show interest in what exactly is happening in government?
Well, see, the people are showing interest in what is happening in government by, what they vote for, who they vote for. That is probably the only way that the people can become part of what is going on in government. The government has been operating for itself for so long. I mean, we have all these heads of government, people in power who, even when they have the money, don't think of this nation, don't think of how they can create jobs in this country, take the money out of this country. So what are we supposed to do? We have to take care of ourselves. If they won't take care of us, I don't, short of what, and you have to give him the kudos for Lagos State. One thing that I can say as an individual that I've benefited from in this state that I live in is healthcare. I would sooner go to Lasuth than I would go anywhere else, because they have shown, that they've done a great job for my family. And I think that's probably the only thing that I would say. I mean, apart from, okay, we're enjoying the roads and the, that Lagos State is putting in place. So maybe Lagos State, might be apart. But the rest of the country, the federal government, I don't feel them. I plow the federal roads all the time. I'm like, God help me. I mean, if I survive this trip and come back alive, I'm thankful. So the things that the government is supposed to do for us, they're not doing enough.
I'm sure they're listening, and everyone would really want this pain or this seeming pain to be over very quickly and just ease off. Talking about the budget, you mentioned recurrent expenditure. Perhaps we should talk more on that and see, because if you say it's so bogus to the extent that it is expensive to maintain this present democracy, and you're telling the average Nigerian to tighten his belt, but he's saying, I don't have belts anymore because now as I speak, I have tightened to the extent that, it still drops. So what can we do from top so that the man at the bottom really doesn't feel the pinch that much?
Well, again, a thought that comes from, we used to sing a song when I was in elementary school. He that is down needs fear no fall. He that is low, no pride. So you're already down there. You're already surviving without the government. And so what you do to take care of yourself and your family will not be as drastic as, because I'm thinking of, I provide my own power, I provide my own water, I provide my own transportation, I fix the road on my street. So what do I need the government for? But if they have a conscience, if they are responsible, they will ensure that even as we are tightening this belt, everything that is supposed to go to the poor man on the street remains stable.
Things like?
Educational services, health services, security, basically transportation, opportunities to move things around. Our people, I mean, well, if I use myself as an example again, my life is simple. I eat simply. Fresh vegetables, the local fish, local, so I'm not dependent on a lot of imported stuff. So my belt tightening will be very minimal. And I'm thinking the same for the average Nigerian. You're not looking to buy wine every night for 40,000 naira, which are some of the things that are happening in some quarters, even in this country. And so they probably would feel it more, because a lot of the powerful the powerful businesses, they're net importers. They're not manufacturing in this country to create jobs for us. They're the ones that are going to be feeling the pinch on the devalued currency. In a good economy, when a currency is devalued and you have a balanced trade situation, when you are a net exporter, a devalued currency is good for you. When you are a tourist destination, a devalued currency is good for you. We have the opportunities for all of these things, but we're not there. Nigeria should be one of the best tourist destinations in this country, earning foreign exchange from that. We're not doing much about it. We are net importers of junk. Things that are not necessary are shipped every day. You see containers of, and you're thinking, who is buying this stuff?
Even fairly used clothes.